It just doesn't. That background and set that looks old.
Doesn't it?
Bad.
Yeah, I didn't notice it. You said that looks like something from what, early 80s?
I don't know. Not good.
I love Newsmax. I really do. But now that they've done the Newsmax 2 thing,
Yeah.
they've watered down Newsmax 1, if that makes sense.
If anybody
split their
watches-
talent.
I don't. Thank you. I don't. Thank you. Echo.
I know.
Echo.
I am so bad about not turning my phone down.
I just got a ding. That's how I did mine. Ding.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Annette.
Annette is my Darting Prairie homegirl.
Welcome to the show before the show, everybody. We kick off about 8 o'clock Central Time. Appreciate everybody jumping in, liking, subscribing, sharing the show.
We've been on even a tad bit early, like 2 days in a row.
Could it be a trend?
Yeah, let's see.
Hey, Joe, I just sent you a DeSantis thing. Or it's coming, okay? If you could pop that up. I don't know.
There's Ben. I didn't say hi to Ben yesterday.
Hello, Vic and Lizzie. Yeah, I stopped in and saw Ben. Quick lesson, I was taking my son to his girlfriend's house. Saw my friend Ben.
Yeah.
My bestie over there.
Yep. You have a great bestie. Everybody should have a bestie like Ben. You know what? No matter what's going on in your life, the fact that you have a best friend like Ben, you're doing really good.
Talking about my bestie.
Yes, he is just... Next time you go into Wendy's, sing that. Walk right in the front door and sing that to Ben, okay? Ben, he's going to do
Tanya,
that.
good morning. Bendy. Karen with a K. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing the show. Getting ready to kick things off here shortly.
In all seriousness, over the Christmas holidays, people should stop in to Wendy's and say hi to Ben. He's truly one of the nicest people I've ever met.
U.S. economists are predicting 2024 will be the biggest crash of our lifetime.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that.
Hey, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Vic's got a bunch of good news today. Tune in to cancelthis.com for all the bad news of the season. You're just telling the truth about that, though. That kind of sucks.
Got a story. I really hate racism. I hate it.
Me
I
too.
hate it. And we all know racism is anybody on anybody,
Absolutely.
whatever color on whatever color. Had another massive issue of racism that we have to cover from a former NFL player.
Yes.
Looking for his 30 seconds of fame.
Yep.
That's what I'll call it.
Well,
Just sad.
and they're getting by with it now. I mean, they're getting by with it.
Well,
because
sometimes. I mean, well, a lot of the time. It's unfortunate.
it is unfortunate.
There's such a double standard
There
of
is.
racism.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when I say double standard, what I mean is in the NFL, if you're black, being able to do in the NBA, being able to do things, say things.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. It frustrates me because nobody's ever going to
Well,
get to a point where we should be when that stuff's going on.
Yes.
And racism needs to be called out, even if it's black on white.
Of course.
Hey, Bobby, good morning. With
course.
Yeah, I just get frustrated from all that stuff. But
me too.
Can't wait to get Bobby back on with Solar City STL. As we've talked about with solar and just being a massive, massive industry right now, especially in the St. Louis area. You got to do it the right way with Solar City STL. They do their own installations as well. We'll do the partners coming up in a little bit. Appreciate their support, especially with canceltheshow.com as we continue to rock and roll. Guys, it's good. We always try to monitor highs and things of that nature. We had our biggest day on Rumble yesterday.
We did.
Of all days.
On a Monday. Our biggest Rumble day, even after the show, the numbers kept staying up on Rumble. Our biggest since we began was yesterday.
Good morning, Chris, Tanya, Paul, as well. Benny, appreciate everybody jumping in. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing the show on all the platforms. When you go there and like, it helps and it sends it out to more and more people as well. And that's what we look. That's the goal of the show. Continue to bring you great information, entertainment, you guys being a part of it. Good morning, Nancy. And getting more and more people to watch and listen and get eyeballs. That's how we continue to, on all the platforms, once you get enough people you can make some income to support what we do.
Yep.
Besides what we have. Yeah, Tanya, we need a positive 2024. We do.
We do. Yeah, we do.
Oh my God. And then once you start racism, play the victim.
Yeah.
A former Pittsburgh Steeler has done that, despite helping cause the Steelers to lose a Super Bowl himself. Sad thing is he figures he's a U of I guy. Sorry. U of I guys are soft. U Illini football players are soft. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. They beat my ass my junior year.
but now you can call them out on air.
Oh, they beat our ass really good.
When I used to run track in college, they used to beat our.
But I'll take you on one-on-one. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, they used to, yeah. They were one of the schools that I would be like, shoot, I may not win today.
Chris says, speaking of racism, have you guys seen the trailer for the American Society of Magical Negroes? I saw the story. I haven't wanted to get into it yet. The movie is just straight up racism on film.
It really is.
With zero irony. It's getting a lot of criticism. I am familiar with it. It's unfortunate. Those things can be out there. No place for racism.
Yep.
Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing the show before the show. Good morning, Kimberly. Getting ready to rock and roll here on this Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. Football, baseball, and most sports. Go Blues.
Yeah.
When it comes to, there's a double standard of racism in the NBA, no doubt. I haven't seen it in baseball really as much.
No.
Hockey has done a pretty good job. They eliminated messing around with anything BLM.
Yes, they eliminated.
Also, the LGBT rainbow colored sticks and all that.
Yeah, they kind of stopped doing that too.
Somebody recently reminded me, hey, Vic, you should bring this up on the show. The Texas Rangers, who won the World Series, were the only team in Major League Baseball last year to refuse to wear the rainbows. Yeah. And they won the World Series.
That says a lot because all of that is just a bunch of distraction and things that the athletes, when they're getting ready to go.
I mean,
it's a distraction. Heck, like when I used to run, I was superstitious. I had to wear certain underwear and certain socks. And if they made me then put rainbows and that wasn't my thing, that would have just threw me off.
I saw a question yesterday. This is the show before the show, just kind of free flowing before we get started. If the B in LGBTQ stands for bisexual, doesn't that end the argument that there's only two sexes?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good point.
Bisexual, two, bi.
And if they don't believe that,
I saw that and I went, oh, that's an interesting point. I don't know how. Because then if somebody comes back and says, well, you can believe whatever you want to believe, then it's like, okay, so I can believe in Smurf love or whatever. And so interesting. Because so many times we get this way, this, that, I feel this way, I feel that way. It's like sometimes just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
As there's to say, smell the roses. Oh, the bee shows that there's two.
Correct. I think most gay people probably think there is two. They probably do. I mean, you could change it to a T for try. And then that third one is whatever you want it to be. Crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy.
Let's see here. Okay. All right, Joe, we can get rocking and rolling, buddy. All right. Hey guys, welcome to CancelThisShow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house. It is Tuesday, December 19th. The podcast here, ready to rock and roll as we do Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, CancelThisShow.com. You know what we do: news headlines, politics, cancel culture education, business, comedy, sports, you name it, race relations, whatever's out there, we try to cover it. Of course, we love the fact that you guys get involved. You guys jump in. You guys are the cog in the wheel. You're the engine, the motor. We appreciate you guys jumping in for part of the live cast. Your comments, your ideas, your quotes, your story ideas as well, possible guest. We appreciate any donations that you guys can give as well. And of course, ideas with advertisers and sponsors. Okay, it's about that time to get rock and rolling, but we are grateful for the partners that we have. Like to jump into the partners, of course, as we always try to do that. Amini's, your leading supplier in traditional and infrared saunas and saltwater hot tubs. And by the way, all of our advertisers and our sponsors, you go to our page, canceltheshow.com. Canceltheshow.com. You click on the partners page, and we have the links for you. It takes you right there. It also shows them that you're linking in from canceltheshow.com. They know you're coming from our show to check out what they have. The Amini's infrared saunas, the traditional saunas, and the saltwater hot tubs, proving why they're so great, how they help you with your health. Of course, Experience Realty Partners, Kathy Helbig-Strick, Steve Strick. They'll be joining on the line tomorrow. I believe they're in Cabo, getting some much-needed rest, working 3 jobs with Experience Realty Partners. New American Funding, powered by Score Mortgage, and of course, New Age Health and Wellness. New Age Health and Wellness, they continue to have clients and people jumping in. People want to get healthy. They want to have their blood tested. They want to see, how can I feel better? How can I get more out of the life that I've been given? The one life, by the way, and become more healthy. Route 66 Cannabis, your fast lane to the Midwest premier cannabis shopping experience. 5 locations throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area, and their Ostara line in hundreds of stores across the area. Of course, Solar City STL, who I was just talking about. If you're going to do solar, if you want any information, you got to give them a call. No strings attached. They'll help you. They're putting in systems all over the St. Louis metropolitan area. And, you know, they have happy customers. You can talk to these customers about what's good, what they would have done different, those sorts of things. Strategic Air Services, the premier private transportation providers in all things aviation, from aircraft management to concierge services and acquisition, where we broadcast live Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time. On our website, of course, Strategic also looking for pilots all the time as well. They have gotten some pilots from listening to this show. WeQuip, the peer-to-peer, people-to-people rental marketplace where renters go to search for items that they need and their neighbors might not have. By the way, I've seen more and more pictures jumping on there. So Paige and crew are getting the word out. We're trying to do what we can there. Just a really cool thing, especially at this point in time. And of course, Winty's, which we were just talking about. Some of the best pizza, burgers, wings, and smoked meats that you're going to find in the St. Louis area, plus live entertainment on the weekends, and a massive heated patio for the winter time that we're dealing with right now. Okay, guys, we're here to get things going today. Lizzie, you feeling all right? You good? Did you get some sleep?
I did. I got good sleep.
Joe, did you get some sleep last night?
Probably too much, actually.
I can tell when you get too much sleep.
Yeah, I went to bed super early and woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
I could tell because I text you and you normally text right back, and he didn't text, so I figured he was sleeping.
Yeah, I passed out at like 8 o'clock. It was
Good
weird.
for you. Good
it was
for
really
you.
weird.
We say good morning, everybody. Jumping in on the line today. Fish, Derek, we got Tanya, of course, Sean Fitzgerald. Try to say hi to everybody we can. Okay. We appreciate it when you guys come in and you jump in and start talking to us about some of the things going on. Stories we got today. If you haven't heard yet, we're going to show you an interview that played on Fox News. What air marshals are doing right now. They're not looking for terrorists. They're looking, and we're going to tell you what they're doing to J6ers and people who aren't even in D.C. the day of January 6, 2021. Just blow your mind. Tucker Carlson on if Republicans are every bit as bad as Democrats for you if you're a hardcore conservative who thinks that Democrats are against you. Senator Cardin responds because of his staffer in the sex tape. It was his staffer who was fired. By the way, we'll tell you if any charges have been filed and what the staffer is now saying. That might blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in this day and age in 2023. December proving to be one of the worst in our country's history for the amount of illegals coming into the country. Not only illegally, but also those wanting to be detained. It's taking a turn. It seems like every single freaking week. We've got an update on the Confederate monument statue.
Mm-hmm.
There's a temporary halt there. And Rashard Mendenhall, when it comes to race relations in America, we'll talk about it. We're not afraid to talk about these subjects. That's why we invite people in to have educated conversations with us, to not be afraid to give your opinions and back it with fact and be respectful. The problem that we have right now is the fact that there is, a double standard many times in this country when it comes to race relations. And then we had something that happened over the weekend. And then if you change the color of people and then you look at the words that were said and then what's done, it should frustrate you because there is a double standard. And the only way we're ever going to have people loving each other like they should, getting along, is when everybody is treated fairly and you don't have racism and you don't have double standards. Here's a tweet I wanted to show you. And we've got this. This is from a former Pittsburgh Steeler running back, Rashard Mendenhall. He also played football at the University of Illinois. So U of I fans, congratulations. He belongs to you, not Mizzou, not any other school. He's trying to be a Colin Kaepernick. Sorry, guys, I have to get a water. He's trying to make a name for himself, and we'll give him a little bit of attention. But Rashard Mendenhall put this out the other day. Quote, "I'm sick of average white guys commenting on football." Had to bring the color into it. You're such a badass, Rashard. Ooh, you're so tough. Y'all not even good at football. Can we please replace the Pro Bowl with an all black versus all white bowl so these cats can stop trying to teach me who's good at football? I'm better than your goat.
Oh my gosh.
Let me remind you who Rashard Mendenhall is. He is a guy who fumbled in the Super Bowl, helping cost the Pittsburgh Steelers a Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers, and then said, well, it wasn't my fault. I got hit in the backfield. Well, it's your job to hold on to the football, dumbass. I mean, seriously. So he comes in with a racist comment. Now, could you imagine if a former white football player and then inserted the words black instead of white did that? What would be happening? It would be a national story on every major network. Yet this isn't getting the national attention. Of course, ESPN is an absolute joke. Their leadership is a joke. Their anchors are a joke. It's why Sage Steele left, because nobody stands up to anybody. But once again, that's how local media is as well. I learned that for about 20, 25 years. Don't upset the apple cart, Vic. Collect your paycheck. Go home. Be happy you have money coming in. You know, people are afraid. They're worried they're going to get canceled. You can't say things. That's what we can do here. We can be honest because we don't need divisiveness. And it sucks because anytime you have divisiveness, it is a problem. We don't have the true love that God intended for all races. All one people, doesn't matter the color of our skin. But then you have people like Colin Kaepernick, and then you have people like Rashard Mendenhall, who bring race into it, who have to talk about black, white, black, white, black, white. And it's frustrating. And then not only is this guy a coward for saying what he said, then he had the gall. This guy had the gall to then say and come back and go, oh, well, you guys, you're just, quote, I mean, he doesn't even speak correct English. Quote, you diss, D-I-S, you diss. Oh, yeah, you're a really cool dude. You diss upset over a single tweet. What? And he fancies himself an educated man as well, which is sad. I was told his wife is white. I don't know.
What is up with all of these black people that marry white people? That's a beautiful thing. So that's not my problem.
Heck yes. It's in your family.
Yep, we have it in mine, and I love every minute of it. But what is it with the black people who marry white people, but then they're still racist? So you could imagine what's going on in their home. So if they're racist and they really don't like white people, or they think the white people owe them, or they're superior or whatever, could you imagine what that marriage is like? I mean, that would be an awful place to be.
I don't know. I don't know. Lisa says it's a good idea not to try to form groups of people with labels.
She's absolutely right.
Stick to
100%.
Issues, folks.
Absolutely right. And I think we were getting to that.
Troy says, I guess it's Ebonics, and I can't understand Ebonics.
Yes, it probably is. I mean, and there's slang in every culture, but it's like, you just stop it with all that. Just stop it.
Peter says, I know a few people like that. I think we all do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like Kevin's saying, the Boston mayor, and that is one of the people that I was referring to, is married to a cracker. Look at, look at, that's what he said, but it's true. That's what
We're crackers.
They call us crackers. Like, that really hurts our feelings.
Just when you think the well of Lizzie drops is dried up.
Right. I'm full of them, apparently. But that's really Kevin. Kevin's the one that said that, and I'm just repeating him. And it's so true. I mean, look at Cammie, the vice president. She's married to a white person, and yet she is like the ultimate pretend to be racist. I mean, that's ridiculous.
So this guy, obviously, he's a racist. And
yes,
he started, and there's hope in this, because he started to get some blowback yesterday. Not what he should have. Not if a white former player said black players don't know how to speak or don't know how to talk about football. We should have a Pro Bowl with all white versus all black.
Oh, stop it.
It's this guy. He should have gotten a whole lot more criticism for this comment because of what it does in society and what's actually happening. Number one, the best running back in the NFL, who in my humble opinion should probably be the MVP this year. And not only is he the best running back this year, he was the best running back last year. He's white. His name's Christian McCaffrey. Suck on that, Richard.
Suck on that.
And you know it frustrates the hell out of you because you want to be Billy Badass and Mr. Intelligent Guy with your Ebonics and start shit. Well, when you do this, the stuff comes back on you. And it's unfortunate because there's no need. Let's all get along, be kind, be nice. Don't try to stir the pot because you need some cash.
Correct.
Or because you have that racist anger in your heart. And then you want to act tough. Like, yeah, I'm from the streets. Let me tell you something, guys. There are white guys beating the crap out of black guys in the NFL on a daily basis and vice versa. And Hawaiians and Samoans. It doesn't matter your race, man.
Is it just me, or is the NFL becoming like the WWE, where they got to have like all the smack talk and everything to go with it, and then you got to have your king and queen of the prom and all that good stuff?
Well, yeah.
Derek reminds us right now, arguably, the guy who is maybe leading the MVP race is a guy named Brock Purdy. Guess what? He's white.
Oh my gosh. How can that be?
So the reason we bring this up and talk about it is the fact that these kinds of people need to be put down in regards to their comments, because you can't create things. Nobody started this with him. Nobody instigated anything with him. He just decided to put this out there to try to drive more racism in football. And it's really frustrating because not only did he do this, then he starts to claim victim. He started to receive, a ton of criticism yesterday on X/Twitter. And then he responded with another quote stating, "Simply tired of being berated by people who aren't experts in D-game. D-E game. We J-U-S, pretend like I'm the only athlete tired of fans talking trash. Yeah, fans do talk trash. I'll give you that. Deal with it. But you also made a lot of money dealing with it because you're an entertainer. And when you're a public figure, you open yourself up for that stuff. You know that, Richard. Come on, man. You diss.
You're not saying it
this
right.
this DIS stuff. You diss.
There
just
you go. Much better.
You diss upset over a single tweet. What about us? Question mark. Like me or not, I'm a all caps great. I'm a great in football.
Uh-huh.
I'm a great in football. Maybe he suffered CTE. Maybe I'm being too hard on him.
No, I don't think you're being too. And maybe he did
Quote,
suffer
this
CTE,
proves my point. You can't speak on ball alone.
Oh, stop it.
And of course, he's the guy that had a crucial fumble in a Super Bowl that lost it for the Steelers versus the Green Bay Packers. It's I don't know.
Well, and the sad part of all of this is spilling over into your friendly neighborhood high schools too. And I don't know if anybody on the chat line notices this with their kids or their grandkids or with themselves, is in high school these days, kids are getting along. They are white and black and they're getting along. And of course, sometimes the white kids sit at the white table and sometimes the black kids sit at the black table. That's just, there's nothing wrong with that. But then I see a lot of mixing. But then in the sports world, right now in high school, if you're white, and sometimes when the coach is black, there becomes this white on black thing. I see it in my daughter's high school that I had never seen that before, that there is this thing that if you're white and the coach is black, there's racism going on now. And the white kids are getting treated different. I'm sorry.
It happened to my older son who was a quarterback at Chaminade. And it's unfortunate. And some of the things that were said at practice would blow your mind. I'm not going to get into it, but my son at Chaminade dealt with racism and saw other kids deal with racism from a coach who was African American.
My daughter is seeing it in a private Christian school right now, that she's a real decent runner and she beat the coaches. The head coach is black and she beat the daughter. And now my daughter feels like that the coach is being mean to her. And my daughter is not an exaggerative person. And there's 2 black coaches. And so it's not all the black people. One black coach is just wonderful. And then the other one, and this is according to my freshman daughter, that she's now being treated different because she's white and beat his daughter. And she's kind of afraid going into this track season on how she's going to be treated.
Well, color should have no basis on anything.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't, but it does, unfortunately.
And it's interesting you bring that up because it makes me also think, I have another son who's a sophomore, had an amazing sophomore year in football. He's big, strong, fast, but he's white. And he plays skill positions. And he was literally told by coaches on his team, recruiting people in the area, it doesn't matter if he is the best or if he's better. He has to be 3 times as good as black kids because black kids are going to get, because colleges they just have this in their mind where they're going to say, oh, well, we need to take a black kid over a white kid at a skill position. You may want to consider having him focus on defense where they'll give a quote white kid a chance. I'm not kidding you. This is what's happening. Yes. They're telling kids this because they're like, well, and it's easier. And I'm told that college coaches get judged by the recruit. You can't miss on a white kid, but if you miss on a black kid, it's all right.
That's exactly
meaning
right.
Miss on recruiting. I mean, some of this stuff, it blows your mind that it's still out there. And it's something that my son's dealing with now. I'm like, hey, you just, you continue to be as good as you can be. You be bigger, faster, stronger as you continue to be, and be smarter and be a great team player and see where it goes. But it's just sad that these things are out there. And I'm telling you, local high school football recruiting, they're afraid to talk about it.
Yes.
They won't bring it up. They're told by black coaches, do not bring it up.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's happening. Case in point, a lot of people may not understand or know who this is, but there is a kid named Cody Schrader. He was just a All-American, the first team All-American running back from Lutheran South in St. Louis, Missouri. Running back, color of his skin, white. He was a D1 kid. And one of the top recruiting guys in the area, Carl Reed, an African-American, said at the time he's a D1 player. He's not getting offers because he's a white kid.
Yeah, that's true.
So he went to Truman State, had a great career at Truman, transferred to Mizzou as a walk-on, And then the rest is history. Now he's the best running back in America, All-American, will live in Mizzou Hall of Fame status. And he didn't get a shot because he was white.
Yes. And that is
and
true.
this is another part of that example that people just get these stereotypes. And this is just sports example.
Yes.
I mean, there are stereotypes that go all around, and we just hope that those things can be broken. I mean, there's no need for them. Stupid, silly, juvenile, racist stuff that goes on.
Mm-hmm. And it's with,
and I just pray the best for my son, that talent is shown forth, and it's not a color situation, because it should never be just because of a certain position. But just remember, the best quarterback in the NFL arguably right now is a white guy. The best running back in the NFL is a white guy. Sorry. It just happens sometimes.
Well, and I told my daughter the same thing.
Skin color should not matter.
Correct. It should not matter. But I think it is interesting with kids today that are white are seeing more racism directed towards them than the black kids because of all the DEI and you can't say anything mean to the black kid.
And by the way, as you continue this,
yes,
Elon Musk has now come out and said DEI is one of the worst things to happen in America, 100%. And it should be taken out of every single business, school, society. Diversity, equity, inclusion is a bad thing.
It absolutely is.
Because it sets groups.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. A couple of years ago, the best receiver in the NFL, Cooper Kupp. Guess what color skin? White. Your color of skin doesn't mean anything. It shouldn't
matter at all. Not at all.
I tried to tell people when I was recruited, and it was a different time then. I was a white kid. Clearly, I'm still white. I was white back then too. If you didn't know.
You are?
Yeah, white.
Okay, you were then too.
Yeah,
you didn't bleach your skin. Okay, I'm glad you cleared that up.
It just said, and my recruiting coach was a black man who came and recruited a white kid at a skill position.
Love it.
You know, and that's how it should be.
100%.
And it wasn't, and I just feel, and then you get these situations. It just needs to be talked about more with high school coaches. It needs to be talked about with college coaches, and it needs to be talked about with recruiting people and people who are talking about football shows and people who are talking about local talent. They can't be afraid to be, quote, canceled. I know that people sometimes they want to cower down. They need to talk about these stories. These are kids we're talking about. Correct. And you bring it up. And it's just sad that color should not, color has nothing to do with anything, or at least it shouldn't.
Well, and the color is ruining more sports programs that then ruins the whole school. And it's happening in public, it's happening in private. And the coaches don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable to talk about it, you know, in the huddle or in a meeting prior. Nobody wants to talk about this topic. And it's a real threat to our kids. So you just have to tell your kids, you have to tell your son, it's just as I tell my daughter, you're just going to have to be that much better. So there's absolutely no question.
But sometimes that's almost impossible.
Correct.
Because you're getting everything out, because you're working hard. Somebody else is working hard.
Yes.
You have the same talent, skin color.
Well, then it does matter. If you have the same talent and prove me wrong, if there is a white person and a black person and say in a race, they both say in a quarter mile, they both do say a 57, you know who's going to be put on the relay team, don't you?
No.
It's the black kid. It's not the white kid. If they're exactly the same. If there is a black person yelling and screaming about it, or the coach is black. Mark my words, that happens. See it all the time.
No, I've witnessed it. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house, here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. You'll probably see this story disappear very fast because the national media doesn't want to cover it, because it is racist. And that is another reason why we bring it up, because there is a double standard. It needs to be broke. The only way you break it is by talking about it and bringing up these stories. It's just sad that these things happen. I hope that this guy, I don't want him to be sick or hurt in the head, but those comments would certainly sound as if somebody who had CTE, because it's just, it's just not good. It's just not right. And I'm not showing his fumble. We're trying to be somewhat respectful to him.
Why don't you just show his fumble? You know, sometimes that's the problem. People are too respectful to the person that's calling other people.
Well, it is an interesting topic. It's certainly got people interested this morning. And I thought it might. David says racism in high school football, basketball, and track is not spoken on, not spoken about. And this is happening all over the country. I don't care if you're New York, California, Texas, Montana, Missouri, Nebraska, Florida, you name it, it's happening.
Yes.
David says, and track is not spoken on.
Not at all.
And it's rampant in all levels in both private and public schools.
Correct.
The color of skin. Oh, well, there's no way a white kid could be as good. Oh, no, we're going to choose the black kids all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sad.
And I hoped it had changed for my daughter. I went to high school in the 80s and my maiden name was White. And often I would run against all black kids. And the black kids would make fun of me when they would say, okay, the next person coming up, Lizzie White. And then they would all laugh because my last name is White. Now, to me, it fueled me. I thought, okay, I'm going to kick all your asses. Then I'm going to stand up there and beat all of you. But I thought 30, 40, 50 years later that this would have stopped. It's gotten worse, not better. I thought my kids would not have to deal with what I used to have to deal with.
Well, Kevin says the NBA is 90% black. So if we're going to keep DEI, can we start with DEI in the NBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Todd says, I think Biden is doing executive order to force states to allow men to compete with women. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's the other issue we've talked about with athletics. And it's interesting because it's something that I've never been afraid to talk about these issues. They need to be talked about. It's all right to try to find common ground. It's all right to agree to disagree, but the topics need to be spoken about. There's too many people that just try to put their head down. Well, I'm not going to talk about this. And I've been told by black coaches I should not say this. And I need to be quiet because I want to keep my check coming in and I don't want to upset anybody instead of speaking the truth. As our friend Dave Gregory, running for Missouri Senate, told us a few months ago in the studio, it's all right to ruffle some feathers.
You got to ruffle feathers these days.
I mean, that doesn't mean being mean. It doesn't mean being unpolite. It just means speaking truth and talking about topics that need to be talked about and understanding that if you have a platform, you have a voice and you need to send that message. If you don't, you're doing a disservice to yourself, first of all, because how can you be honest with yourself? And then you're doing a disservice to other people. So use those platforms to talk about the issues that are going on. It's just sad that these things are happening. Color should not play anything with anything. And of course, Mary says it was Obama who stirred it up. Fish says,
correct.
Didn't you folks know us white people worthless? DEI program, inches, DE worthless.
Well, just I think that Fish is saying that white children right now are supposed to think that they're worthless and less than because they are the oppressors to the poor black kids who are the victims. So, I mean, this isn't helping black kids either because black kids are being told that the white people are oppressing them.
Yeah, but your son-in-law wasn't raised that way.
Not at all. Not at all. He wasn't raised like that at all. I don't have any of that in my household. And we do talk about race because there's all these different races, but we think that everyone should be treated equal, period. But most people are not like that. And that's sad.
From the chat line, DEI people is code for no whites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
in a lot of cases, he's not wrong.
I've always felt there was nothing more dangerous than somebody who used the color of their skin to get what they want, to attack others and instead of trying to find something from a positive standpoint. That's for sure. Because all of this conversation is to bring up the bad issues, bad to find common ground, to hopefully find something positive.
Correct.
For things to be just, for things to be fair, for things to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
David says DEI is forced upon corporations and schools, control the parents and the kids.
Yes, it's all about
and
control.
The messaging.
Yep,
because those things start to happen, and then you're like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. So Richard, congratulations. Maybe he just saw but obviously his hate was coming out of his heart to just tweet that out of the blue.
Correct. And I think it was Robert earlier said a lot of this is generational. You know, kids that have racist parents are then making their children racist, and it's generational.
It's like hurt people.
Yes. And I thought the cycle was breaking, but I agree also to some of the listeners on the chat line. It was there, but it was dissipating. And then Obama just revved it all back up in the black community, the hate for whites and the hate for police officers. He revved it all up.
Derek says, hey guys, I'm not white. I'm a medium almond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think about that.
Fair enough.
Everybody's different shades of colors. So get over it.
Abe wanted to remind everybody, just remember 75% of the NFL players are oppressed people.
It's so sad.
You'll see it. I mean,
Mhm.
I gotcha. So if anything else comes out of that, we'll see. But once again, just remember, if it was a former white player saying that black people don't know anything or how to talk about football, this would be a huge, massive story that would be all over the place.
Correct.
And that person would be ostracized or people would be trying to cancel them, which is sad.
Yeah.
To put a little levity on the situation, a little light, Paul says, I just keep thinking about Toby Keith's song, I Ain't As Good As I Once Was.
Well, there you go. As you age,
I
you
ain't
might
as
not
good as I once.
once was.
I do like the song.
I do too. I love Toby Keith.
This is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Pro Joe in the house. Real quick, David, want to get in there. New City School used to impress that colors of skin aren't black and white.
That's true. There's a school, a private school in the city of St. Louis that used to be absolutely phenomenal probably 20, 30 years ago. And it was one of the first schools that I ever saw. It was very multiracial. And they would take the kids and they would take a crayon and show which color they are. And it wasn't a racist thing at all. That kind of like to Derek's point, that you're not just white. You might be almond, you might be something. And they would take every child in the class and show that they were all just as equally as important. And they did something called the Gardner School of Multiple Intelligences, where there was no racism in it at all. And that everybody was important and all of that. And now New City School has gotten all into the DEI. And I was so impressed with it back in the day. And then they flipped and now everybody's racist there too. It's so sad. It really is.
Well, we can pray for better and just, bring up whatever you can. By the way, Derek also says, why are a majority of the announcers and play-by-play people in football white people?
I don't have no idea about that.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Ex-football players.
Well, yeah. They're all, the
most of
color
them are ex.
Well, the color guys are ex-football players. The play-by-play, it's you just work and you go to small markets and you take your time and you work and you work and you work.
Mm-hmm.
The colors of skin, it's stupid. It's so stupid and trivial. And then when people intentionally start fights or intentionally try to start culture wars or color wars with skin, shame on them, shame on you, because that's one of the worst things that you can possibly do.
Exactly.
Another big story that's going on, kind of a frustrating thing too, but it's an eye-opening, and it comes to air marshals.
Oh, yeah.
We had heard people talk about this, or at least what was happening with air marshals and if they were doing their jobs and what they were looking for. This was an interview about the air marshals talking about what they're actually doing right now. It aired with Fox News, and this was a terrific interview here. It just goes to show what's actually happening. Fox News anchor, for our listeners on the podcast, a female Fox News anchor doing the interview with a woman spokesperson representing the air marshals. Just listen to this and what they're actually doing for their job right now.
Air marshals are on planes right now, and how many do you think there should be to get to a safe level?
Well, Carly, we're not flying right now. The only missions that we're doing are Quiet Skies missions, and those are missions that are following the January 2021 people. So we're either on the border for illegal immigrants, or we're following folks from January 2021. We're not doing our regular missions where we're out there looking for the bad guys. So right now on most flights, you're not going to have air marshals.
What do you mean by that? You're following January 2021 people. What does that mean?
That means our primary mission is a little group called Quiet Skies. It's a mission called Quiet Skies that we're following people that flew into the National Capital Region in January 2021. You did not have to go to the Capitol or the rally, and you've been put on a specific list that TSA now has assigned air marshals to follow these people who have not had any type of criminal investigation. They haven't committed a crime, but yet 3 years later, we're following the same individuals day in and day out.
So you're saying that air marshals are now following people that were at the Capitol on January 6th, and they're not tracking terrorists at all?
Well, they didn't even have to be at the Capitol, Carly. They could have just flown into the National Capital Region. So if anybody was there for a job interview, to visit family, we even had a gentleman that was there for a funeral. They put on this domestic terrorist list just because of their geographic location to Washington, D.C. So these people did not even commit a crime. They weren't even at the Capitol.
What? Do those people know that they're on this list?
Some of them do, because when they go to the airport, they get the quad S's on their boarding pass, and then they have to go through enhanced security. Then they're followed by teams of air marshals on any leg of flight that they have. So yes, a lot of them do know that they're being followed, yet they haven't been vetted and they have not committed a crime. And 3 years later, we're still doing the same duty, and we followed the same people over and over for 3 years who are no threat to this country.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you are an average passenger on a plane, how concerned should you realistically be?
I think you should be very concerned when you're boarding the aircraft. You need to look around to see who you might be able to ask to help you, like a good Samaritan, because you're on your own. If anything happens, please don't wait. There's going to be no law enforcement that's going to help you. So you need to have a plan. Look where the exit doors are. Look where your flight attendants are standing around you. But I would look at other passengers to see, I would be looking around for a football player or somebody, a pretty big guy or a couple big guys, in case you needed to take action.
Wow.
Okay, that's some scary stuff right now with what's
really
happening.
Scary.
Yeah, Derek, can you say profiling? Can you say it's a damn shame the United States is being run by idiots on purpose? And as Kevin reminded us, this also included a gentleman who was flying in for a funeral and was on the watch list. And they were going after him. This is what's happening with tax dollars. This is what's happening with Joe Biden. And as I've said often, he's the perfect fall guy. Well, it was Joe Biden's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone now. He's dead. His whole family was messed up, whatever. Now look at our new candidate, Michelle Obama. Oh, look at everything's happy and joyous now.
Right, because we have two black women in the office now. We've got Cammie and Michael Michelle. Yay, life is good.
The flag upside down at the Capitol was not a mistake. I'm sorry.
That was on purpose.
It feels like we live in China. I'm sorry.
We do feel like we live in China. Been in China several times, and this is starting to feel no different. And when you get on the plane and you're a conservative or somebody, maybe you didn't even go to J6 at all, but you like what happened there, but not than what happened to the people there. Now you're on a watch list.
We try to be ahead on this show at cancelthisshow.com. We try to talk about things that are happening, what could happen in the future. It was just a few months ago that FBI Director Chris Wray told us, be vigilant, keep your head on a swivel. There could be attacks in the United States like we saw on October 7th in Israel. These things could happen once again in the United States. You could have people coming after you. There could be these attacks that are trying to emulate what they saw in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, what? Our own FBI director is telling us this?
Right.
Then we're told, because of the border situation or lack thereof, and we have millions of illegals coming into this country, most of which, is we need to remind people, are younger men, military aged, pretty good shape, coming into the country from a variety of countries across the world. Then we're now being told by air marshals, when you go onto a plane, you have to start looking almost like, quote, profiling, almost judging people who could help me if something bad happens, because we're not on planes anymore. Dear God, this information is going public and you're on your own.
That is so scary.
And not only you're on your own, you don't have a weapon on the plane.
Right. You can't defend yourself. And God forbid you come in with a shirt that has an American flag or a red hat, regardless of whether it says Make America Again, they're going to profile you on the plane.
And seriously, we're not trying to go overboard. These are serious situations that can happen. And what have we seen in the last year and a half? We've seen a lot of people getting a little bit loony on planes as well. There are instances of that happening. We also saw planes at 9/11 being used against us as well when we didn't have air marshals on planes. And guess what? Now we're being told, not only are we not there, we're being reassigned to follow people who were involved in a protest, a rally on January 6th, and people who weren't even there that day. That's where our resources, that's coming straight out of the Biden administration. Clearly, Joe Biden has no idea. We know that. And we also know that somebody else is running the government. Democrats know that Joe Biden is not running the government. So with that being said, who is allocating our staff, our air marshals, to the possibility of J6ers instead of protecting Americans with American tax dollars?
We can speculate. We think we know who it is, but who's even above them? We think it's Obama or Michelle Obama speaking literally into the earpiece, but somebody's also telling him what to do.
And who's to say that our military they're not taking like similar orders? Like, how deep does this go? Does it go all the way to the military?
I'm sure it does.
Of course it does.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Because look what they're doing to our military.
Paul says we're so screwed if they activate all of those that got away once. The left will get steamrolled or will turn in other Americans to save their own asses.
Paul is 100% right on that. And that's really scary.
And Chris reminds us, yet the FBI are chasing grandmas that walked in the wrong place, but doing nothing to stop child sex trafficking or loads of military-age men flooding this country, as I was just talking about. But Ray is going to say, be vigilant. Think about what is happening in this country. We are not in a better place because of the administration with Joe Biden. We're not. People are starting to wake up, and people of all colors, which is another great thing as well.
Love it.
And you know it's getting bad when the corrupted pawns are starting to question their own handlers. I mean, this is a serious issue, especially now that we're talking back about airplanes.
Yeah.
And going after J6ers. I mean, really, stop it. Please stop it. People, Americans, wake up. I know a lot of people, most people that listen to our shows or watch our shows get it. You're enlightened. You're awake. You're not woke. You're trying to find information. You're like, holy crap, this stuff doesn't add up, because truth will add up. If something's not adding up and you can trust your gut, your senses, your feelings, you know you're being lied to.
Yes.
And our country is being lied to in so many ways.
Totally. And people that were not awake even a year ago are starting to wake up. And I had even posted something on Facebook. It's like, you didn't see my 250,000 posts about the truth, and now you just see it. But regardless of whoever is seeing it now, that's a beautiful thing, because people that had just dug their heels in and thought that all of us were conspiracy, tin foil hat people are now going, maybe you were right. Maybe you were right all along.
I just don't know if this resonates with people from a standpoint with planes, because there's two aspects. One, protecting American people with American tax dollars. And then two, there's still an effort to go after anybody somewhat associated with wanting to go to a protest.
Correct. I think it is resonating, because there's so many people now.
Man, I hope it's resonating.
That they're going to drive now. They're actually afraid to get on the plane because they're either feeling targeted or there's no one on there to save you should there be a terrorist on there. So I know people that would drive to Florida or actually would get on a plane and now are driving.
Well, there's nothing wrong with letting your politicians know, even your Republican politicians know, this stuff's going on. We're not crazies for bringing this up. And you or the left or central people can try to tell us that we're crazy, but they need to be brought up. If you don't bring it up, who's going to bring it up? If not you, who?
Correct. We have to bring it up.
You can't just assume that things are going to be done and people are going to say things, because this country is dealing with more crap right now than it ever has.
Yes.
And the face of America is changing, and it's changing fast. And all the evidence points to Democrats and Democratic politicians refusing to do anything at the border, refusing to do anything about illegal migration, finding ways to try to come after Donald Trump and Republicans, to blame it on them because they know that they don't have anything to stand on. It's really, really bad. It's not getting any better.
No, it's not getting better at all. I mean, it's not getting better. And people will look at us telling the truth, and we're not telling you anything radical. We're telling you what's really going on. But there's plenty of conservatives. I shouldn't even say conservatives, probably people on the right that are Republicans that still don't even believe it. And they're way more concerning to me than the left.
They are. It's because we're so comfortable still.
Correct.
It's so easy. These things need to be talked about. And I'm grateful that they did the interview. I see interviews, and it shocks me how they're not being run on every news platform anywhere, going after J6ers. But unfortunately, I worked with a lot of people in the news business who called themselves conservatives. Seriously, who called them, who went after, like, lock them up. have no issue.
Yes.
Lock them up, lock them up, lock them up.
I
I'm
know
like, what,
many
what?
Republicans
What?
that didn't believe J6. And when I said it from day one because I knew what was happening because a friend that works in DC and in Homeland Security said, don't go. Because if you go, your life will be different because you're so vocal. So from day one, I knew, and there would be what I would have considered good Republicans either stayed completely quiet or like, those people should never have been there. They should just be locked up. They need to go to jail when they were just exercising their rights.
Paul reminds us, just think about who's coming into our country.
Yes.
Russians,
Mm-hmm.
Hamas, who, by the way, are still holding hostages. Yet you have people, listen, I'll listen to any pro-Palestinian who denounces Hamas any day of the week, and we should talk. But here's the problem. How can you continue to say there's got to be a ceasefire while your group, while Hamas, who's associated with Palestine, continues to hold hostages?
Correct.
Continues to hold American hostages, killed American hostages. How can you even begin to have a conversation when those things are hanging over your head? You can't. Man, I wish you could understand that. When those hostages are returned, then you start talking ceasefire. When there is some sort of declaration, some sort of push for ceasefire when people are giving up because of what they did on October 7th. You can't just forget October 7th happened. Too many of those people try. So you've got Hamas coming into this country. You've got tons of Chinese, Russians, the cartels. Now imagine them going door to door, blowing up electric grids.
Yes.
Water treatment plants. These are all major issues that are going on right now that need to be thought about, talked about. And we're not overdoing it. We're not doing scare tactics. We're talking about truth. Things that are in this country right now that for the first time, you're seeing networks talk about it, even just a little, some more than others. But people are starting to wake up. That's why we want to get out to as many people as we possibly can on a daily basis. And that's why we appreciate your support, liking, subscribing, sharing this show, sending us donations, sponsoring, being a part of what we do so we can be on the air more and get more of that information out.
Yeah, there's so much. Like if you've got,
I need to get a water. Can you, Tanner? And I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you continue, like I was flipping through cable the other day, and I was watching on purpose, conservative shows, but then I was watching liberal shows. I was listening to ABC, NBC, all of those sorts of things. Then I turned on the History Channel and I turned on National Geographic. So when you watch those shows now, they're acting like it's a revelation that the drug cartels are coming across the border. And they're acting like they're surprised that there's Mexicans, but there's also, wait a minute, the cartel now is Middle Eastern people, they're Chinese. And I found that really interesting that channels that had been either completely neutral or leaning to the left are now starting to report this. Now, they're still not blaming it on Joe Biden. They're still not blaming it on the Uniparty. They're still not blaming it on Obama or Clinton or Bush. They're acting like, oh my gosh, do you know what this is going on? But something that I found very surprising on National Geographic, I believe it was night before last, was how kind the police officers and border control are down at the border. And they're down at the border, and these Mexican cartels are coming in, and they're showing cars that on the bottom of the cars and the bumpers, there's all kinds of drugs mixed in with food, salsa, clothing, all kinds of stuff. And they still treat them so nicely. They're illegals bringing them across the border, and our American, southern border patrol officers are treating these Mexican cartel or Chinese cartel or Russian cartel with the utmost of kindness, which to me makes me very angry, because if me or Vic or any of you on the chat line,
I've never seen you angry.
Well, that does make me angry. I don't get angry often at all, but that makes me angry that the Border Patrol is still treating these illegals that are coming across the border with just tons of fentanyl, and they're giving them the same rights as they would, say, you or I, that they're like, oh, well, okay, well, we really need to check this out instead of get the hell out of here. Get out. You're illegal. So why are they getting those rights? And while you were gone, Vic, I was saying I'm seeing these on channels just like National Geographic now. And I'm seeing on the History Channel. They're starting to wake up. But my problem is they're giving the rights to the Mexican cartel. They would give you or I, which is just wrong.
Gary says the borders are designed effort. Could not agree anymore with that. Paul says don't piss Lizzie off. I could not agree with that anymore.
I don't get mad often, but if you mess with my country, my faith, or children, I am going to call you out. And I am a very nice person. I try not to be mean to anyone, and I give people the benefit of the doubt. But you don't even have to be mean to understand we're being played.
Lizzie, I get you.
We're getting played so bad. And that was just a revelation to me when I went to all these conservative stations and all that. And they're now reporting it. They are reporting the border crisis. And that is great. But we're still treating the people coming across the border like they are just luxurious and still handing them
$5,000 gift cards.
Yes. And they're coming over with drugs on them. And it's just crazy to me. I want to literally walk up to the Border Patrol and go, wake the hell up, send them out of here. But they can't because their higher ups are telling them to treat these people like that. It's infuriating.
No, it is happening. And it's a perfect time to show it too. We'll go ahead and show you the video from Eagle Pass just yesterday. It's making its way around some of the conservative TV stations, networks, things like that. When it comes to what's actually happening, listen to a Border Patrol agent this morning say that December is turning out to be the quote highest, I repeat, the highest number of illegals coming across that they have seen, the month of December. So just because the national media may not be covered as much because like, oh, border again. I'm telling you, because I was in local news for 25 years. What happens is the fact you have producers coming, we need, even if it's not the most important news. And of course there should be a segment on the border every single day. The video that we're showing our viewers right now, our podcast listeners can't hear it, but we're showing 4,000 illegal aliens at Eagle Pass at the border. These are people who are waiting to be detained. They're not even trying to come across illegal. So what I figured was if they were coming in to be detained, they're not being sent back.
Correct.
These are people who, quote, are being tracked, given money, phones, and so forth. Word gets out. Where are we going to get the best deal? How are we going to get into the best situation? Where are these people going to take us? Because I do believe they're sent on buses and they're sent out. Texas, Governor Abbott is already saying we're not allowing illegals in. And Texas is now making people basically deputized. They can go and arrest. This scares the shit out of me because of what could happen. People will try to make, quote, the citizen's arrest or being deputized. God knows what could happen from that standpoint. But at least Texas is trying. Look at that.
Yeah, at least they're trying to do something.
4,000 illegals at Eagle Pass.
That's crazy.
Getting ready to come across the border. Guys, just when we think we've reached it, oh, it can't get any worse. It does. It's not stopping. It's not going to stop. We were told this kind of stuff would happen a few years ago by Colonel Joe. John Rourke, our newest guy who's been on the border so many times talking about this stuff happening, saying it's not going to stop. And the sad part about it is they're basically giving the middle finger to America as they walk in.
Yeah.
With trash. And it's, once again, it's not a generalization of everybody, but when he says that most of these people are like that and they're just like, screw this country and we're leaving our trash in your borders and we're coming in, we are entitled to this. We get this. We get what we want. We got a problem on our hands.
We do. And they're not patriotic. They're not coming across the border going, I love America. They're bringing purposely the crap from their countries into our country and turning our own country, especially down by the border, into a cesspool from hell.
Chris, adding on to what I was talking about, by the way, this is why we love our live listening audience as well. Most of our audience comes on after we're live Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central. But for those who join, we want you to be a part of the show because we don't act like we know everything. We're never going to be those anchors. We're gods to everything. Watch us, listen to us. We all learn from each other. We love that aspect here. What was brought up was Chris says, hey, here's what's going on, as he added into what I was talking about. Governor Abbott, what he did was he signed into law that illegal entry into the state of Texas is now a state felony, and they will detain and imprison. Those are the only kinds of deterrents that will make a difference. And word spreads fast. Don't kid yourself. Just like it does when you want to, quote, reimagine policing and you don't put people in jail. What does it do? It produces crime. It doesn't produce safety. Even though there are leaders, including in St. Louis, Missouri, and Chicago, Illinois, and in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Austin, Texas. I could go on with the list that think, oh, well, we're going to reimagine policing because it's going to make everything sweeter and nicer and cookies and lemonade pools. It doesn't. You've got to get the word out. You've got to show you'll be dealt with, and you'll be dealt with harshly. If you don't, people are going to continue to come in, and it's only a matter of time before the economy collapses. And we're going to get into that in the 9 o'clock hour as well, because as I said to start the show, you now have not one, not two, but several financial experts saying, wait a second, 2024 is not looking good. And it also has to deal with rates. We all want rates to be cut. Well, when you're cutting the rates in very fast, you're going to see what's going to happen. You're going to hit the floor. JM says, people say we are immigrants. True, but someone had to be sponsored before they were allowed in, and that sponsor took the person in, and they worked. None were supported by the government and given a free ride.
Exactly,
yeah, of course.
right.
You're 100% right, JM. And Megan Marie, she'll be in tomorrow. She said, if you don't know that yet, I'll talk to you.
I love her. Yes, I love her.
Katie Hobbs.
She's so smart.
Has even pulled her head out of her ass. Yeah, she had no choice. She's the governor of Arizona who certified her own election results against Kari Lake, by the way, which is one of the biggest farce that I have seen when it comes to elections, including what happened with the presidential election and it's stopping. To certify your own results in a massively contested state election for governor, including all of the problems with Maricopa County, a conservative Republican county, not being allowed to vote or irregularities at the voting machines, even she is speaking up. And I've heard her as well talk about, but here's what she's doing. She's like, we need help from the government. Say, hey, Biden, get your dumb ass down here. We need you right now. You need to call these people out, but, well, we need help from the government. Yeah, you think you're going to get any help from the government if you haven't already? Hell no, you're not, because it's a plan. John says the Arizona election was a pure joke. Laura says, I'm proud to be the great-granddaughter of an Italian immigrant. His name is on the wall at Ellis Island. You just gave me chills. That's how you know they did it the right way.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for sharing it. Sarah, I got goosebumps reading that. That's what this country was founded on. Not people cheating, not people coming in illegally, and a government allowing it to happen.
That is very true. Very true. It's very hard, or it used to be very hard to become American. And it wasn't your right to be in a different country to come over here. And when they did, they worked hard. And there's no shame in still loving your nationality from if you came from Italy or if you came from China or wherever you came from. But if you're going to fly a flag, that American flag better be above your nationality, because this is where you're free. Well, it used to be where you were free. Now it's maybe not so much.
Derek reminds us my ancestors were brought here as an endured servant, slaves. The other part of my ancestors are Native Indians.
There you go.
And John says that Biden isn't going anywhere near the border simply because he doesn't know how to handle the situation, much less put his pants on and zip up his pants.
Right.
He doesn't. And, you know, it's sad, and we know what's happening, and we talked about it all throughout this show, and it seems like it comes up every day. There are people with bad intentions running this country because there is no way in hell all of this bad could be happening at the same point in time by chance.
It's all on
easy decisions that can be made or not being made because we're trying to destroy the country. We're trying to destroy America from within. It's what's happening. And it pisses us all off. Rob says, I have zero concerns with Trump going after the people who went after him. They are corrupt and should be dealt with. And guess what? I used to disagree with you, Rob, and wanted to see the quote more presidential. At that point in time, I felt I was wrong with what happened with the indictments, albeit helping Donald Trump. You better believe he needs to go after those people. I am 100% with you because the position has changed. No longer are the days where you can stand there and say, oh, yeah, okay, everything's, because it's not. It is a fight.
Yeah.
It's a damn fight, and I hate the fact that we're there. And a lot of battles have to be won before you can actually sit back and feel comfortable again.
Correct.
Well said.
I agree with Rob wholeheartedly, because what Trump has
And
said
by the
in
way,
past,
Rob, I hope that you're feeling better. For our listeners, Rob suffered a horrible car accident months ago, and I try to keep up with your updates. I'm glad to see that
I'm glad he's on here. I was
your
excited
family
to
is
see him.
taking care of you. So if you have an update, let us know.
Well, and Rob, if anybody that knows him and you follow his social media, he's very intelligent, and he's right when he says that. And
I don't know anybody that knows more about the vaccines than he does, because
correct.
of his study from a
Mhm.
personal experience. And usually we have to go through something from a tragic standpoint
Correct.
to start studying something to become experts in it, to protect ourselves or our loved ones.
Agreed.
And that's how you find out. You have to go study. You have to educate yourself. And he did with that.
Yeah, he's very, very smart. And to his point about Trump has said before in the past that these people, whoever these people are, and we all can speculate that they're people that's part of the Uniparty and the whole world order that wants to purposely wreck our country so they can control us. They're not really coming after Trump. They're only coming after Trump because they're coming after us. And from the beginning, when he went down that elevator, I saw that, because I was already seeing this country is they were trying to hide what they were doing to us. And then as soon as Trump came in, they no longer hid, and they're now accelerating and making it obvious because they're afraid he's going to get back in. So they're trying to do as much damage in these 4 years as they absolutely can. So either to discredit him, or if he gets back in, it's such a mess he can't fix it all, or they hope he can't.
There is polling right now showing that Americans under the age of 30 that say that they will vote, guess who they're supporting? Donald Trump.
Yeah, they are.
It's not Joe Biden. It's Donald Trump.
Yes. I think people like you, Vic, that were wanted him to be more presidential. I never gave a hoot. I enjoyed the tweets. I enjoyed all that. I didn't care that he wasn't presidential. He doesn't have to be my best friend, just like your doctor, that he's going to cure you, but you don't like his bedside manner. That's how I've always thought about Trump. I might not like everything.
Well, the left changed the rules.
They did change the rules.
You changed the rules? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Game on. I'll play by your rules and let's see what happens.
Correct. We have to play by their rules now. We can't play by the rules that they set that they didn't follow. We have to fight fire with fire.
By the way, we appreciate the partners and the sponsors we have. If anybody knows of anybody who would love to sponsor our show, give a donation for what we do so we can continue to do what we do or get larger, please let us know. Hook us up. It could be any company. It could be a local company. It could be a national company. We're grateful for any of the support, especially for the local companies that do support us. Wendy's in the Chesterfield Valley. Some of the best pizza, burgers, wings, smoked meats you're going to find. WeQuip, a peer-to-peer rental marketplace where renters can go to search for the items that they need that their neighbors might not have. A lot of really cool things there. We broadcast live out of Strategic Air Services in the Chesterfield Valley at Spirit Airport. Beautiful facility here. If you're looking for private flying, anything when it comes to aviation, if you're wanting to become a pilot, if you're a pilot already, you can check out Strategic Air Services. And as always, on our partners page at canceltheshow.com, we have links. You click on the link. It's made easy for you. Solar City, STL. So many people going solar because they're saving money. They're getting off the grid. They don't trust the government. And it makes sense to do that. That's why they're busy right now. Route 66 Cannabis. 5 locations throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area, including the Ostara line of products, which are in hundreds of stores across the state as well. Experienced real estate partners. You're not going to find anybody that knows more about real estate and mortgage together than Kathy Hill, Big Strict, and Steve Strict. Experienced real estate partners and New American Funding, powered by Score Mortgage, plus New Age Health and Wellness. And of course, Amini's in the Chesterfield Valley. When it comes to traditional and infrared saunas and saltwater hot tubs, it's a Christmas time. Check them out. Look at it. It'll blow your mind how affordable these things are for your home, for wherever you are, especially the saunas, because you can get 1 person, 2 person, all the way, up to 7 different people. And you go to our website, click on it, let them know you heard about it at canceltheshow.com. It helps us out. And of course, our good friend Curtis Sparks in Complete Auto Body and Repair, the fastest growing auto service center in the region, family owned. And they've been offering the complete experience since 1973. One other thing I'd like to remind people of, you can also go to our website at canceltheshow.com and check out our website, our merch page. It is the Christmas time. We have a sale going on, 15% off of some really cool hats, shirts, all kinds of cups, mugs, Stanleys, coolers. It is that time. We've also got a brand of organic coffee, which is the Cancel This Coffee, the American Legacy Coffee. We appreciate that as well. Great gifts, and it helps us out as well. Derek Pratt has done a terrific job with our site from that standpoint as well, in the midst of starting the other show, Low Down in the Lou, which you guys have on Friday and had last week. Derek says orders will be going out this week for those that recently placed in an order. So we appreciate that as well. By the way, we're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, canceltheshow.com. We're appreciative that you're here. Pro Joe in the house, Lizzie Sparks, myself, Vic Faust. Once again, if you guys ever have stories or ideas, thanks for sending them. If I don't get back, or if Lizzie doesn't get back to you, it doesn't mean we don't appreciate the stories that you're sending us, because as you see, we do talk about several of those story ideas, whether we had them already or you guys are letting us know. I just want you not to take it personal if we can't get back, because
we try. We really do try, but sometimes we're inundated with them, or we have a family event. But we really appreciate all of the info our listeners send us. They're really smart.
We're doing research literally 24/7.
We really are.
I promise you. I look forward to the days where we have staffs of people that can help us do the things that we need to do, so that we can do an even better job than what we're already doing. But if you're watching podcast, if you're watching news, we're keeping up, and we're trying to set the pace, and we're trying to keep
more
people
times than not ahead of what is on the mainstream news or other stations or other shows. We really try. We try to get it out there. And we try to sometimes talk about things that are different, because when we talked about the sex scandal show yesterday, we were one of the very first that did it. And Fox, a couple of their stations did pick it up yesterday, but a lot of people
they were on it today.
Yep, they were on it. And last night they were on it too. But I know so much.
Definitely on it.
Yeah, definitely. They were. Hopefully, they weren't on that.
I was trying to make Joe
Amy
laugh.
Klobuchar's chair. Hopefully, they weren't on that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the aide came out. The aide who was fired. He's not going to be charged.
Of course not. That is so ridiculous.
There's got to be something for defacing the chair, of Amy Klobuchar.
Right, but they don't care. I mean, just think about it. People went in for J6 and just put their feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, just prop their feet up, and they went to jail. But
something
yet
else was propped up on that table.
Right, something, their dirty, ugly deed, and videotape it, and nothing, just being fired. Who cares?
The Senate staffer who was fired and no charges were sent is now playing victim, saying, well, people don't accept me for who I am. Well, maybe they haven't. I don't know all your personal experiences.
He's disgusting, and not because he's gay. He's just disgusting.
And if they don't, shame on them for treating you the way if you're gay. But come on, you know better. Mm-hmm. Don't play victim.
Right.
You effed up. You're the one that went in there consciously knowing what you did last week. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it was last week. It wasn't over the weekend. They just don't know the time of day yet.
Right.
You tried to make this about you. You have also now tried to capitalize on this from a financial standpoint, as I said would happen yesterday, and say, oh, well, I need to be accepted. I didn't mean to do anything wrong. Oh, really? Okay. Well, he was the aide of Senator Cardin. Well, he got kind of ambushed by some reporters. He kind of stumbled around. Here's what Senator Cardin had to say about the entire incident. Yes, Donna, it was porn. It was porn. And Megan,
totally,
you're right. He was asking for it. End of story.
Yeah, he did this on purpose. I mean, anytime you record yourself doing something, you have to understand it can and will be leaked eventually. He did it on purpose. And the thing that's so gross about him is the senator that he works for, he is either dumb, and I'm saying that for real. He's either dumb because he's older and doesn't understand social media. But when you went to the staffer's social media, it was full of porn. It was full of that kind of stuff. So either the senator didn't know, and I'll give him the benefit of doubt of that, because maybe if he's older, he doesn't know how to work social media, or maybe he's just not really very bright, or he himself is a pervert. If he knew that.
Of course he's a pervert. And the problem is the fact that this is what our government has become. It's another just black eye on America. You don't see this shit happening in Russia. You don't see this stuff happening in China. You know why? Because if somebody did that, you know what would happen? They'd castrate them. Mm-hmm. And then even worse, and they'd make an example of them. You're not going to defile our government. You're not going to make us look silly, because that shit only happens in America, where we let everybody do whatever they want to do because it feels right. Mm-hmm. No, my opinions matter. No, they don't. They don't. And that's why this country's fading fast. The video wasn't great by the person who shot this, but this is the Senator Cardin being asked about his Senate staffer a variety of questions.
To figure out, what went on here, any hiring practices.
These are personnel issues that I won't talk about publicly as to how we handle personnel.
Did your office booked the room at the time?
I don't know the details.
Yeah, how did he get in there?
I don't know the details.
What was the staffer like?
My knowledge of this was over the weekend when I learned about it. Made sure that he was separated, so he left the Senate employment, and that the appropriate steps were taken from the point of view of our office.
Did he exhibit any unusual behavior while he was working in the office?
That would not be the right one.
Did you know him very well, or?
I would have to ask. These are personnel issues, and I would not be the right person. I'm not going. I just not going to get into personnel issues.
Do you think there will be criminal charges pressed?
I'm not going to get into the personnel investigation issues.
But your office is what, cooperating with the Capitol Police on this? And have they contacted you to look into this?
They haven't contacted me, but I'd have to
Wow.
check to see if someone in my office was contacted.
Well, was this a staffer, just following that earlier question, that you knew personally, that you worked with personally?
I know all my staff people, so I know.
Well, were you particularly close to the staffer? Did you know him well?
I can't tell you that I'm not going to get into my relationship with staff people.
The video that looks like a legit video, right?
I don't know. I'm not going to get into that because it's not. That's something to be investigated, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not going to get into the specifics. It's not what I know.
You met with Senator Schumer today. Was this part of the discussion with them?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
He knows damn well what that video looked like. Again, he wants us all to think that we're all stupid. He knew, and I thought it was very interesting that he said, I'm not going to get into my relationship with him. Instead of saying, that was disgusting, that was gross. And like what Matthew had said on the chat line, when it was Pelosi's office, oh no, they've described the sanctuary or the sanctity of her office. And like, they don't say that then. They don't say, oh my gosh, he desecrated the chair of Amy Klobuchar. You could imagine if it was a Republican, what they would say about it. This guy is a buffoon and he thinks we're all stupid and he probably is a pervert.
He's lying.
He is lying. Of course he's lying.
But whatever it is. Robert says, watch Hogan's Heroes. That's how our government works.
Right?
We are the Germans in the show.
It really is so true. That is so true.
Glenn says Biden ran on bringing honor and decency back. I will work with people. Come on, man. Cocaine in the White House. His first day, he literally started signing executive orders, the most that we had in the history of this country. Porn in the Capitol. Trans flashing tits. That's true, Glenn. That happened as well. Administration stealing luggage, etc. He said he'd hold everybody accountable. Yeah, that stuff isn't happening. These are problems. They're massive problems in this country. Trey says, I'm Cornelio. I need DB. Cornelio. I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing.
Of course. And the right thing to have done is to say, yes, I saw that video. I was told I couldn't say much because it's an HR video, but I do denounce it. I don't think it was great. But of course, they're not saying it. And it's there again. It's the two-tiered justice system. A Democrat did it. We're just not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. A Republican did it. They would already be in the DC gulag. I mean, give me a break. It is so ridiculous.
Paul says, when will the mainstream media say anything? No, they're not. The mainstream media is not going to change.
They're not going to say it.
Deal with it. It's what it is right now. That's why you have podcasts and shows like this popping up. That's why Tucker Carlson did what he is doing. There are some big networks. We've got to do what we can do. That's why, we do what we can. We continue to grow from a number standpoint, a people watching standpoint. That's why we're just trying to raise our awareness to get the money in there so that we can continue to do what we're doing. That's why don't think that ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox somewhat are going to start changing. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're bought and paid for.
Correct.
And if you think local news is going to change, they're not. They're fine for covering local stories, local things, but not national stories, and even local politics. They don't understand, and they don't understand local medicine. We saw that with COVID. They're fine with council meetings sometimes. Sports.
Correct. And they're good with sports. And like you said, maybe covering some of council meetings.
But don't think things are going to change.
No.
Sometimes breaking news, accidents, traffic, for local places all around the country. It's not going to change. You got to go to people who are passionate, people who have a track record, people who are doing the study to bring the information. And guess who that is? It's a lot of you guys. That's what we do here. We come together as a big platform to try to get the word out, and we're grateful for that. Paul says, I have a lot of friends from Monroe watching. They love the show. Thank you, Paul. We need to flood their phone lines with complaints. Yeah, you do. Persistent and polite. Over and over and over. Because trust me, if you have a coordinated effort set up to call local newsrooms or call politicians' offices, guess what? If people are calling around the clock, they get tired of answering the phone. It drives them crazy, whatever the subject is. Do it. Put a coordinated effort together. Watch what happens. You can make you can, I promise you. JM says, if you ever want to have David Matthew Perna's aunt on the show, she will do it. Has been working on his case, and Ron Paul is bringing it to light. Please, JM, let me know. Message me. That's why we ask you guys for all sorts of ideas, for stories, so that we can do what we're going to do. Matthew says, I don't even trust local news with local stories. Some you can, some you can't.
Yeah.
And it starts with producers. And I'm just telling you, there aren't necessarily, and I had this experience for over 2.5 decades. I never found people that were really intentionally trying to hurt everybody. They were just giving their experience with no open head, no open mind.
Correct.
So I know. What do you mean? Donald Trump is evil. What? Hello? Have you looked at the other side of this? There's no way a conservative could be right. No open mind to go into a meeting and listen to other people. So you have to be careful at what you're putting in and what you're getting out of it. So we do what we can to try to promote that. Cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. Brendan says 180 stars away, 1 minute. Let's do that. What does that mean?
Someone activated a star. One of our listeners must have activated a stars party, which is awesome. And so they have, just a certain amount of time to get them in. There's like less than 1 minute now, and you get 180, and then the show gets rewarded with more stars, which equates to money.
Thank you
thank you, whoever started.
Whether it goes through or not. Party. Thank you for the thought.
Yes.
Big believer in people having good ideas. Only thing I watch is sports and weather, according to Chris. Anything else coming from mainstream media or local media is usually useless. Local stations are paid robots. Well, sometimes I felt like a paid robot at times. That's for sure. If I'm just being honest, Vic, don't rock the boat. Collect your check. Be happy. Be happy with what you got. We have another big story that just came out. It was released just a little bit ago. Breaking news. Joe, if you can pop up the picture if you see it. I certainly hope this is gonna go somewhere. Yeah, and of course, you got it, JM. We have the picture up there. Joe, just let us know when you have it ready to go. Here's what's happening. Over 170 might be 177 of Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile associates will be named in court documents set to be unsealed. I repeat, unsealed in the beginning days of 2024. Now, after all of this time and names not being released, I read that with a grain of salt going, come on, there has to be a catch to this because of these names being put aside. However, we now are starting to see this, the Daily Mail reporting that over 170, maybe 177 of Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile associates will be named in court documents set to be unsealed in the first days of 2024. What could that mean? What would it? And we have speculated on this over and over again. By the way, you look at all the indictments Donald Trump has, yet not one indictment regarding Jeffrey Epstein or anything else with Giselle Maxlin sitting in prison.
This scares me. because this is when the great hack's going to happen, or this is when something big is going to happen to keep this from getting out there. I'm sorry, but
What
something
do you mean
big.
specifically?
Well, I mean, if they start releasing names on that list, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of shit happening in the news to really try to distract and deflect all this, and it's going to be big shit. It's not going to be little shit.
That's a great point, Joe.
That is a really great point. And one of the listeners had said to me, this whole sex there on A.B. Klobuchar's chair could very well have been a distraction. Okay, they're going to fire him, but they may very well be taking care of him in other ways. These kinds of stories do distract us from the real things that are going on. Even though it's disgusting, it doesn't affect our daily life. But sex offenders do, sex trafficking, taxes, all of that. I think Joe's right on the money with that. Right on the money.
I just think about this. I'll believe it when I see it. There's some sort of like mysterious fire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the documents went missing.
Yes.
Oh, we don't know what happened. Somebody who was in charge of the documents threw them away and shot themselves or unalived themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just because we have been forced to deal with the situation that we've been dealt with.
Yeah. And Kimberly's saying, look for people on the list to start dropping like flies. And I agree. Once these names start coming out as well, we may not, unless we're discerning, notice that they've been unalived or they had a really instant heart attack or something, because they're not going to want those people to talk, because those people may be asked questions and they know people that are involved. And I bet we would be shocked. Yes, I've seen the list. I'm not saying I believe it or I don't, because I've seen it from different sources. And some of the people's names on that list really did surprise me. But I bet there's people that are not even on this list that would shock some of us.
The other thing that we need to remind ourselves about, I know that we're conservatives doing a show or conservative leanings doing a show. Here's the problem. Don't think for a second that you're not going to see Republican names on that list.
Oh, I think there is Republicans' name on the list.
Expect Republicans' names on the list. And then this is me. I try to think positive and not be negative. I really do. But the negative in me thinks that Republican names will be released first.
Oh, of course they will. Of course the Republican names, because they're going to act like it's all Republicans on that list.
And it's going to be the ones that vote the other across the aisle.
Watch. Oh, yeah. And speaking of that voting, it'll probably be in 2024, you'll get Republicans going into the election. And then after the election, Democrats.
Yeah, I agree.
If we even get it.
And I think it's too why there's some people that are not running again, because they know what they did and it's going to be exposed. So they're going to stay down under, as they say. But I agree, the Republican names are going to come out first, because I think it could be across the aisle, both ways, right and left, because we know what's going on in politics. It's one big happy little uniparty that's had their way with all of us because we were too, happy and dumb and we didn't see it coming. But now we do. And we're
Do we really think we're going to get the names?
I think we're going to get some. I do. I think we're going to get some, and they're going to be unalived, because people can only keep a secret for so long. Somebody slips to somebody. So when you tell somebody, don't tell anybody, somebody eventually tells. We're going to get those names eventually.
Well, the first names are going to be guaranteed. Those people are already going to be unalived. So the first names are going to be people that we can't really get any satisfaction from watching them go to jail or anything.
Correct. We are, just like Jeannie's saying, it is a huge club, and we're the ones not invited to the club because we wouldn't play their little sex games and their little pizza parties. We wouldn't have anything to do with that. But it's coming out. You can only hold that big of a travesty for so long. We're going to hear names. We're going to hear them. It's coming, and soon we're going to hear them. But then there's still going to be the people.
I'm just being honest. I have no idea what to expect.
I think it's coming. I think there's too much
I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Well, we don't know. We don't know exactly what
because
is coming.
Like Greg says, I'm sure Slick Willie's on there.
Oh, we know Slick Willie's on there. We know Obama's on there. We know Oprah's on there. I mean, there's names that we definitely know. The ones that screamed the absolute loudest about Donald Trump You can mark my words. I'd say 80% of them are on that list. People that really had no reason to hate him. I mean, I would not be surprised at
Donald
all.
Trump's not on the list,
No,
right?
he's not on the list. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mitt Romney's on the list, Paul Ryan's on the list. I mean, those people, yes, they were really upset and had their little feelings hurt because, this outsider that wasn't part of the pizza club got to be the president, and they tried really hard, they thought, to be part of the club, and they didn't
the Bush
become the
family.
president. Bush family's on it.
People are chiming in right
Yes.
now with ideas. Ellen, no doubt about it.
Ellen's
Schumer
on it.
would be interesting to see about that being
Well,
there as
think
well.
about
Correct.
how many non-Americans like the royal family.
Oh,
Correct.
Prince
Royal
Andrew.
family. Yeah,
Mhm.
Prince Andrew is on that
Of
list.
course.
Yes.
Chris, kind of backing what I was talking about, I bet we'll have an incident like the AT&T building bombing in Nashville that, oh, golly gee, it just destroyed the building that housed the voting machines from 2021.
Yeah.
So there couldn't be any evidence gathering from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like people are putting the names on there. They're even saying Tom Hanks right now is about ready to poop his pants because he's on that list.
Who?
Tom Hanks.
Oh, well, there's been so many reports of Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me with that.
And his wife.
Yes.
That
being
Christmas movie
associated.
that he did.
Well, and have you seen, there's been leaked videos, and, I need to go find that now, that he was doing bizarre things with his kids. Bizarre. And it was on video that a regular, normal parent would not do with their child. He's a strange one.
Well, the one guy that needs to be brought up somehow, some way, he's already been associated to it, so I think he's going to somehow slime his way out, is BG, Mr. Gates.
Oh, yeah. BG. Well, his wife, BG's wife.
We say BG because when we've said the full name before,
Yes,
weird things.
our show goes down.
Weird things.
Yep. It does.
You're like, oh no, I'm just telling you at least
Correct.
twice.
Correct.
He's he's like untouchable. Like he is.
Correct,
He's literally like royalty at this point.
He is. He is like royalty. And his wife has been asked the question about Epstein Island. And you can watch her face when she's asked that question, because she's been asked, did you get a divorce because of that? Her face tells you everything you need to know. I think she knows so much that if we could get a hold of her, woo, I think our toes would curl up.
Wait a second. Could it also be one of those situations? Because we know who's responsible for all the problems in the world, right? Who's responsible for everything that is bad?
Obama?
No.
World Economic Forum.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh,
my
man.
bad.
Who gets blamed?
Trump.
It's Trump.
Uh-huh.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. Oh,
Yeah.
it's Trump's fault.
Yeah. Oh, it's all going to be Trump.
He made Epstein do it.
Uh-huh.
It's Trump's fault. Let's go after Trump. Let's indict Trump for Epstein.
Right. But they don't even realize that Donald Trump, or they
I'm
do
sorry.
realize,
That
and
wasn't
they want to
funny.
hide
I was
it.
trying to be funny, but
But it's true. You're absolutely right. Because Donald Trump stopped letting Epstein come into his club. He didn't want any part of that.
That's a
People go,
fact.
Trump. He kicked him out of the club and he wasn't welcome there anymore. Donald Trump also knows where the bodies are buried. And he is waiting till his second term to tell it all. So, I mean, it's coming. It's all coming. I wish it wasn't coming. I wish we didn't have to deal with this. I wish these people weren't like that. But I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat. This is the truth.
Okay.
It's all coming out.
let's put this together.
Yeah, put it together.
All of this coming together in 2024.
Yep.
We have several indictments of Donald Trump,
Yes.
court cases coming up, impeachment inquiry of the Bidens. That case getting more and more closely associated to the Biden crime syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
We have election year coming up.
Yes.
We have thoughts and predictions of a market crash.
Mm-hmm.
The Simpsons say that Biden dies in office.
The Simpsons are always right.
Bart Simpson's sister takes over as president.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're trying to be serious with a little levity at the same point.
Yeah, that's
in time.
a little bit of a joke, but
But,
it's not far fetched.
Man,
really.
that's throw in Epstein on top of 2024,
Yes.
on top of everything else that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's going to happen with crypto, Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
the border?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when we're putting shows together, I mean, I close my eyes and I think about this. I'm like,
Are we really
holy
talking about
shit,
this?
There's like 8, 9, 10
Yeah.
things that are so crazy. And I'm a news guy, and I always was a news guy. And I'm like, there's nothing. There's never been a time like this in news. There just hasn't been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And some people like this coming out because they think it makes their news more sensational to go after Trump and he's just crazy and Republicans and everybody is just absolutely nuts. And
seriously, connect the dots. Sometimes
Yeah.
we just get it right. It's like, just stop for a second, go where the puck isn't,
Mhm.
and breathe and go, holy crap, look at
Yeah.
everything that's going on. And now it's coming into 2024 because I do believe that truth is pretty darn easy to see a lot of the time. It's black and white. So many other things get us thinking here, going there, thinking about this. You know what's right and wrong.
Mhm.
You know what's good and bad. You know what's moral and evil. But then forces come in and start trying to get you to think about it and think about it and think about it. Just like the old Nazi way, you tell a lie once, it's a lie. If you tell a lie 1,000 times, it becomes truth. All of those things being pushed on us at this time as we head into 2024. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house. Sorry. Alex says, don't mention my name though. I don't know what
Well,
he's talking about.
Well, he has a friend named Mike from SLU. I don't know if he's a student from SLU or they went to school, and he's a new listener, and it's his birthday.
Oh,
So
okay.
we
Did
wanna
I
say-
just screw that up?
Yeah, you did. You read it backwards.
I'm like, I just looked down. I'm like, damn, I was trying to do something kind and nice. Troy Turner says, Facebook is monitoring this program. I just got flagged for using the word, I'll spell
Saltine.
it. Saltine.
Yeah, I'll say the word
Lizzie,
saltine.
Give me some.
Saltine. Yes,
Oh.
yes. And Troy is one
I'm
of those
such
people
a saltine.
too that us saltines doing this show. Well, there's even salty water that we've talked about, and I'm going to give a shout out to Troy. Troy was one of the ones that put one of the Century H2O systems in his house.
I'm more of a buttery Ritz.
You're a buttery Ritz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if, I'm not in front of the camera, my face is a really white saltine, but the camera kind of makes me look like I might be like, what do they call them?
What are the circle?
A Ritz.
Yeah.
Ritz.
We look like Ritz
Or
because
a
Joe
club,
makes us
a
look
club
like
cracker's
I'm
a
a
good
club
one too.
cracker,
Yeah.
baby. I'm going to call myself a
Yeah.
club
I am a white saltine.
That's an extra white crack.
Yeah, baby.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about food, of course.
We're talking about food. That's all we're talking about is the food that our face looks like.
I associate as a club cracker.
A club cracker. You know what I am? I'm an oyster cracker because those are really good,
Okay,
I'm
there
an
you
oyster
go.
cracker.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have to look at some of the other brands.
I'm
is what it is.
actually the Great Value Walmart brand.
That's funny. Hey, by the way, we don't have them on the site because they're not an advertiser yet, but they will be. CentryH2O.com.
Mhm.
Troy purchased the system because
sure did.
and we're going to continue to focus on water and why it's so
Yes,
important
we're
to
big
have the
on
clean
that.
water. How bottled water is actually not good for you. Like
Correct.
there's really no water. You have to be purifying your water. Hospitals, guess what? They're scared to death because they need
Mhm.
clean water and they can't find clean water. And I'm finding this out the more research I do. They need clean water
Mhm.
to do a lot of the things that they're doing right now. And our water system is so bad, bottled water, all of it. Troy purchased Century. There were two other people who purchased too after talking to Nelson, who owned Century.
We had at
H2O.
least 3 that I know of and a lot of inquiries.
Well, Troy put the water system in. He got it last night. And just like Nelson said, his dog went crazy for the water. He
Yes.
says the water's amazing. He is hoping that it can help with some health things that are going on with the family. That the dog went crazy over the water. And once again,
Yeah,
dogs are drinking it up. They're not peeing because it's actually being
correct.
taken into the body.
Yeah.
It's being absorbed by the body and used how it should be.
And it's really economical if you get the one
He was
under
so
the kitchen
excited.
sink.
He messaged me last night. He's like, it is everything Nelson said it would be, at least from the
Awesome.
dog standpoint.
Awesome. I want to get one after I get done paying my Christmas stuff. So in January or February, I want to get one under the sink too.
I'm
excited
asking
about it.
Santa one for Christmas.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, that's good. So we're definitely
We're gonna have
show
Nelson,
here.
but we're gonna have Nelson
We
back
do.
on again. And by the way, if you do reach out to CentryH2O.com, tell Nelson that you heard about him on CancelTheShow.com or their team. There's a reason why he had $80,000 worth of sales just over the Black Friday, Thanksgiving Day
Yes.
weekend. Because once you try it, he's never had anybody turn it back in.
Yeah. We should have Troy in that day too. He's a big fan of the show. He was
I
even
like
at
that.
the
That's
party.
a great idea.
So when we have them in, Troy, we'll let you know. We'd like you to come in and talk to him about, because you know for sure.
Bingo, Donna. It adds minerals to the water.
Yes.
You got it.
Yes.
You got it. You 100%. That's what happens. The CentryH2O.com.
Paul said he has one too.
A Century or another brand?
I don't know.
I didn't know there was another brand. Anyway, you got it, Troy. Thanks again for the updates, letting us all know about that and what happens and everything else. The other thing that will happen in 2024, and I didn't mean to take us off the Epstein list coming out, I have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, well, and I understand what you're saying because I've seen it. You've never seen the list?
I've only seen clips of it or picture screenshots.
Correct.
But what I don't who is going to release it?
That's a good question because
I don't see any information of who is going to be releasing.
Several different sources are going to release it. I've heard that Trump's going to release it. I hear somebody in the higher up in the military is going to release it. I hear that people that were the victims are going to at least concur with the list. If it is the real list, and I believe a lot of it is true, it's already been released, but every time it's released, it's taken off the internet. Just like if you say that you're a Saltine or BG, they take it off. So, I mean, there's a lot of true things that come out, but as soon as it's up, it's taken down.
Jeannie says everyone we love will be on it.
She's
guess what?
Right about that.
But guess what? Here's what it is. The truth is the truth, whatever
it is. The truth, yes.
And then you go with it. And it is what it is. You can't change what something is. Once again, you can't have anything in life that is worthwhile, that is pure, that is honest, that is worthwhile with moving on unless you have truth first.
Correct. You have to have truth.
You can't have a relationship. You can't have honest conversations. You can't have an understanding of anything unless you have truth first. You have to have truth first. So you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
All of it. And by the way, Paul, he broke down coal again, and I am not trying to.
Well, he's even agreeing it's not the same.
But you have, it's something. But he explained why coal again. And this isn't a dig on you at all. He was just trying to educate people why Colligan is not going to cut it.
Well, and I asked that question too, because when I owned my business, I used to get those water cooler things thinking that it was better than the tap when it was really just like bottled water. So that's why I really enjoyed having him on. And so did our listeners. It was a very interesting segment. And at first people were like, gosh, that's going to be a boring segment about water.
What?
No, I had people say, that's going to be
told
boring.
You before we started, it was going to be one of our most popular segments.
Well, you weren't wrong. Because I was very intrigued by it. And I was thinking, water?
Water's our lifeline.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right about that. But I mean, think about it. When you think about, you could be talking about some crazy Joe Biden thing or water. One sounds boring, but you know what? It wasn't, because they're killing us with our water.
Joe, were you going to say anything, buddy?
Well, there was a few comments that because he was selling a product that he might have been getting paid to do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was definitely some people.
You're always going to have people.
Right.
Yeah. And he wasn't an advertiser at the time at all.
No, he's not.
No.
Guess how much Vic got? Zero. I'm not getting money.
Yeah.
I just want truth. And I told you we'll bring the truth. And I talked about getting the proper water guy on for about 6 months. And I delivered. Mm-hmm. I did. This guy, and this stuff is great. What does Jeannie mean by this? Jeannie, according to, quote, numbers, 2024 is the year of truth.
Yes, I know what she's talking about.
How do you know this?
Well, there's people.
You're not a numerologist, are you?
No, I'm not good with numbers, to be honest. There is, if you do really, I want to say deep dives.
And Troy Turner says, Pro Joe, he's an independent guy. It's real.
Yeah,
but that wasn't Pro Joe saying it. It was a couple other.
Right. No, that was people who were commenting that day.
Sorry to interrupt you, Lindsay.
You're good. You're good. No, there is. Okay, so if you really look at the sources that are coming out with the truth and how you now know it's true, is all the things that are coming out just now have been being said for quite some time, but the mainstream media has blocked it. And so has most of our social internet has blocked it. But now you're going to see, I do believe wholeheartedly with her statement, 2024, we're going to see the truth that we all know. is going to be backed, and you're going to see people get put away now. You are going to see that. And that's part of the freaking out. It's not just Donald Trump. They are freaking out about Donald Trump because Donald Trump will allow the truth to come out, but they're also freaking out because people like Jeannie and people like everyone else on this chat line that gets into the number part of it. It's based, some people call it numerology. The numbers add up as to how it's going to be released. Watch, it's coming.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discredit anything from a numerology standpoint. I don't know anything about it, and I don't want to know anything about it. Some people may say, oh, that's stupid. No, I don't want to try to predict the future.
Correct.
Numbers may have something to associate with it. I'm not saying I don't. I was just asking to explain.
Right.
And it's very interesting.
It is. And not
if
all
it
of
does
it
line up for 2024.
So keep your eyes on 2024. As bad as I think 2024 will be economically, I think it's going to be a total shit show. But I think also part of that is to block what we're going to learn is the truth.
It is interesting because that Epstein, man, that whole situation being thrown on 2024 now to start off the year, an election year, immigration.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Scary.
It is scary.
Rates allegedly being cut at least 5 times.
Yep.
For our economy to get a shot in the arm.
That's not what, but that's not why it is. It's, I mean, they're going to lower our gas prices and lower the interest rates and all that right during the election.
Of course,
time.
that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing. They
well,
don't
that
really
brings
care
up
about the
another
economy.
subject too. And it's possibly why Biden is just sitting back right now, but there's another issue that's going on, and maybe we get into it tomorrow more. Maybe it's another day. Lisa brought it up earlier in the show about what's happening with pirates. Literally in the Suez Canal, because people who are controlling the canals are controlling the shipping and tons of money. And you're talking about, I think they're the Houthis. They're an Iranian-backed pirate group. So they're attacking ships. Biden's not doing a damn thing about it. You know why? In my humble opinion, because if he does, guess what's going to happen? Oil prices go up, gas prices go up, and he can't afford it right now because he has nothing good going on for him. The most positive thing is, oh, we got lots of jobs. Really? You mean the ones that came back from COVID? Okay. The $15 an hour jobs. Okay. Allegedly, Biden shutting down the railways as well to put people on the border to process illegals. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff going on right now as well.
This is why I think Lizzie's prediction that, gas prices are going to go down and everything for the election season is going to. I don't think that I think it's going to be the opposite this year. They're going to double down on all the horrible shit. It's not going to be, it's literally going to be, let's start World War III where we can't change the presidency.
Oh, I could see that happening too.
That's what I was leading. That's
right.
what I was
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump ahead.
You didn't.
No, please do.
Joe, it's all been leading up to that right now.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong, but I bet you're right. Yep.
Right.
Mary thinks the gas prices are going to go up after the first of the year. We'll see where it goes. It wouldn't be good for Joe Biden or the Biden administration, which is why I felt like they would do whatever they could to try to, quote, control it. Joe says there's also pirate issues in the Middle East. Yeah, the Red Sea. That's what I meant. Joe, you got it. I was saying what I was saying, but the Red Sea is where the Houthis are attacking. Biden's not doing anything. Our administration's not doing anything because I think they're worried about gas prices, oil by the barrel going up. Because we're controlled, because we refuse to be energy independent. And that was one of the worst things that Joe Biden did is we can be energy independent in this country. We know it. We have proven it. And politicians know it. The Biden administration did not allow that to happen. And that's where we are. Yeah, Kevin says, yeah, I've heard these stories. He paid just $2.39 a gallon at Sam's Club yesterday. Yeah, gas is cheap right now. It is.
Well, and it's sad that we think that's cheap because when Trump was in office,
$2.20 at Kroger.
Yeah. Huck's had it for that too. Yep. So if you go to Huck's, Kroger, Huck's, and chime in if you're somewhere else. Where is the cheaper gas prices, say in Michigan? Where's the cheaper gas prices in Delaware or Florida or wherever else you're at? Where are they?
And if I didn't do a good enough job explaining this, Joe wanted me to say, people, they're attacking our Navy ships.
Yes.
They're literally trying to attack our Navy ships. We're not talking about it in the media, and we're not doing anything from an administration standpoint. Once again, would that kind of crap be happening if Donald Trump was president?
No.
Hell no. Hell freaking no, because he's the master of the deal. he would make sure that crap was not happening. We'd be drilling here, as he told Sean Hannity just about a week ago, drill. We'll be drilling here. We'll become energy independent. We will not rely on the Middle East bullshit that we have had to do for so long, especially at a higher uptick with Biden, because he's compromised so many branches off this tree that is Joe Biden and his administration. And it's simple. All of this stuff is easy. It's simple. It's black and white. But once again, if you're going to try to destroy a country, you complicate things and you make decisions that don't make sense because it puts everybody else in a problem, in a situation. And then you throw in and you sprinkle in all these other social issues to keep our attention off of what's really important.
That's true. I mean, it's always a distraction.
We appreciate the stories and the interaction that people give us Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. Jeannie says that is not cheap. Cheap is 35 cents a gallon.
Right.
Hey, I don't remember 35 cents a gallon, but if that's cheap.
I do. I remember when it went up to like 40 or 45 cents.
Hey, more
and
power
I remember
to us.
my dad sitting in his Dodge Dart getting so pissed.
I remember in the 90s, it was 96 cents a gallon. That's the cheapest I can remember. Like maybe in the 80s, the 80-something cents.
Chris says in the communist state of Illinois, gas is $2.88.
Yes.
And Gary reminds everybody that OPEC has pledged to increase oil price in 24 by cutting production. Yeah. Why would you want to sit back and let them control us? You know why? Because it makes us dependent on other people, because the president is compromised with so many damn countries, because he's compromised through his son in so many issues. Renee says Oregon, and we appreciate, because we know we have listeners all across the country and the world for that matter, but we appreciate Renee Harris saying that Oregon has finally slipped below $4 a gallon. We always have high prices due to, quote, special blends. Is that because of their green nature? Is that what you mean by, quote, special blends? I don't know.
Yeah,
Donna
that's a
says
good
she remembers.
question.
Donna says, "Oh my God, I remember 20 cents per gallon."
Wow. Okay. There you go.
Well, good for you.
It's time to start moonshining again. Let's go back to alcohol burning cars.
Wouldn't that be nice to have alcohol burning cars?
Well, I was watching something the other day about how that's the main purpose of moonshine back in the day, is because that's what people were using to fuel their cars.
Oh, if you've ever had moonshine, it tastes like gas.
Yeah.
Sorry. The first time I had moonshine was the first night I had a Cuban cigar.
Really?
New Year's, I think it was 2016.
That wasn't that long ago.
I had a Cuban. Oh, my friend. I was introduced to a Cuban cigar and moonshine within an hour of each other.
Wow.
And when the ball was dropping and New Year's was coming in, Vic was on all fours in the front yard.
Howling at puking. Oh, I bet you were.
Well, in a sense, he was howling at the moon.
I was not. I was not overserved. I was throwing up the smoke, the cigar smoke that got inside of me, and the moonshine all together, and I can still taste that nasty stuff. And I have not had a cigar since.
You were purging your demons.
I used to like cigars. And I have not had a cigar since. I cannot even stick that stuff in my mouth anymore.
Well,
and I certainly won't ever try moonshine again.
I remember once you feel that feeling, I remember drinking too much beer one day of a certain brand in a red Solo cup. So now I can't drink beer in a red Solo cup. I can drink it out of a can, or I can drink something else out of a red Solo cup, but I can't drink beer out of a red Solo cup.
You know what else I had? The last time I had Boone's.
Oh,
I think, unfortunately, that was high school.
I had it in college.
I think I threw up a cooler full.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm not, that does it for Boone's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't had Boone's since
Paul
college.
says, come on, Vic, act like you've been there for it. Well, the problem was I had never been there before with moonshine and a Cuban cigar at the same point in time.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have done them all at the same time. That was probably not wise.
Yeah, we talk about all kinds of things on the show. It kind of took a turn here. Lisa says, one of my soccer dads made his own apple pie moonshine. That doesn't sound too bad.
It actually sounds good.
No, there's
done
definitely
responsibly.
There's some people who do it that I've there's
we laughed so hard and then I forgot the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But not the hangover at the game later.
Yeah.
Tell you what, disclaimer, that apple pie stuff is dangerous.
I bet it is. I bet you drink more
it's
than
so
you think
good.
you're gonna.
Yeah, you can drink and probably make yourself sick.
Yeah.
I mean, like seriously sick.
Mm-hmm.
No, that stuff happens. It just does. I mean, we've all had those, right?
Sneaks up on you. Yeah.
Yeah. My son, and it helped develop him.
Yes.
He's a freshman at Mizzou.
Uh-huh.
He was experimenting as an 8th grader, and he
As
came.
an 8th grader.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. It was an 8th grader or freshman. I think it was freshman.
Mm-hmm.
It was freshman, and he learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he learned the hard way,
Mhm.
and when he woke up, I left the stuff for him to clean up.
Yep.
And he felt terrible, I think, for 2 days and never had an issue ever again.
Yeah. Sometimes we all have to learn the hard way. For
At
sure.
different ages and different parts of life, those things happen. Man, oh man, those stories. I know I've had them too myself. I think, as we talked about, we've all had those stories at one point or another.
Yeah.
It happens. Hey guys, well, we appreciate you jumping in today for the show.
And before we go, we need
the
to
Patriots
list.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm glad we want to, and by the way, the marketing team grabs the Patriots list. We do a list every week, and if you're not on the list, thank you, stay in there. We will give you credit. We try to give credit as much as we can. If you're not on the list, please don't take it personal. We don't pick it. It pops up. We want to give a shout out to our Cancel This Patriots right now: Tracy Theody, Tanya Carnell, Joe Lynette, Brian Conway, Paul Raymond, Robbie Bizzell, Joe Lynette, Ryan Higg, Sherry Adams, and Darren Totten or Toten. Thank you for your support of the show, and of course, continue to support. And we have different Cancel This Patriots that we pop up all the time to try to give support.
Yes.
Give you guys a shout out.
And how he determines it is either a whole lot of activity on one of the platforms or activity over all the platforms. And what I mean by over the platforms, it could even be our Cancel This Patriot Outpost, because there's a lot of great chatter after the show that people will post memes or whatever. And that's very engaging. So if you're not already on there, you go to Facebook and it's the Cancel This Outpost page. And you can.
Thank you for doing a great job with that too, Lizzie.
It's so fun because I love the listeners and they post memes. I even post memes. We post funny stuff. If you want to vent about Joe Biden, knock yourself out there. It's great. And it's a safe place that you will not have a liberal come and bash you. Liberals are welcome. But if you start bashing the conservatives, then that's just not going to be good.
Honest conversations should be had.
Yes, it is.
With respect.
Correct. Well, we don't have many liberals that are on there because they can't back up what they say.
Respect is key, people.
Yeah. Respect is a big deal. And our society has lost that these days.
It's easy. The one way you respect is by listening.
Yes.
That's the first thing. And just you don't have to be a name caller.
No.
It's
not effective.
Don't try to provoke people.
Correct.
Just have a good conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're grateful for it. Going to get out just a couple minutes early today. We want to leave you wanting more, right? The fastest 2 hours in podcasting.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Join us tomorrow. We'll continue to do the same thing. Like, subscribe, share the show. Thank you for any possible donations on our website, canceltheshow.com. You click donate. We've got the merchandise, of course, set up that we promote. You can check out our partners page. Please support those people who are trying to help us. We have them listed there, links as well. If you have story ideas and interviews as possibilities, let us know that too. We are grateful for all of your support. Have a wonderful Tuesday. That'll do it for this December 19th podcast. We'll catch up with you later. So for the Pro Joe and Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. Have an awesome day, guys. We'll talk to you next time on canceltheshow.com.